Greetings and felicitations.
Hip hip hurrah, tally ho.
Hey Cutie Pie.
Hey Puddin'.
Let's talk about some Star Trek t-shirts that are in our collection. Now, this, along with another shirt, was one of my favorite t-shirts as a kid, but also one of my first shirts as a kid. I believe this was the first one, or it could have been a red Don Moore shirt. But this one, I wanted Spock and Kirk, obviously, but they were all sold out. So my mother got anything Star Trek she could find, and it was Ilia. So my brother and I proudly wore this shirt to school. What would you think if you were a classmate and you saw us walking in with matching Ilia shirts?
I think it's kind of strange for a boy to wear that Ilia shirt. But I think it's neat, though. I mean, yeah, I would go, hey, you like Star Trek.
Exactly. So I knew who my friends would be if they knew who Ilia was. Now this is the Don Moore shirt. Don Moore was a producer around the time of late 70s that would make t-shirts that look like uniforms. The one that I had, my brother had as a child, it had the TOS style V-neck. This is TMP. What do you think of this shirt?
This is a neat looking shirt. Yeah, from the motion picture, it was Admiral Kirk's uniform. He had a short sleeve, and I thought that was his best uniform in that movie.
Yeah, I liked it too. And look at the tag. So it's an official Star Trek design. So the idea was that you could be wearing a t-shirt that looked like a uniform. Now, this shirt is one of the first shirts I ever saw you wear when I started to get to know you. I love the idea that it was 3D chess. Any story about this shirt?
I got this shirt at DragonCon years ago. And yeah, I think it's unique. Like, I haven't seen anyone else with this. And I don't remember what vendor I got it from, but I always thought it was a great shirt, and I get a lot of compliments on this one.
Yeah, it doesn't say Star Trek on it, so you have to be a Trekkie to know what it is.
Yeah.
Right?
And I got this one at CreationCon in Atlanta for Star Trek's 50th anniversary. So it's one of the t-shirts they had made, and I just thought it was great artwork. This is a very good design.
I love the idea that you get the three departments, but it's an artistic take on it, like paint leaking off of it. It's so unique. Oftentimes we wear matching Star Trek t-shirts. This is from the poster by artist Juan Ortiz, Mirror Mirror. We both loved this episode when we first watched this as kids. It made an impact on us. What do you think about this shirt?
Yeah, this shirt is good too. So it was made in the 2000s, right?
Yes,
so
the modern one.
They decided to go back and make all these TOS shirts based on the episodes. And they really made it look. They gave it that classic look, and it's really cool looking.
Beam me up, Scotty. There's no intelligent life on this planet.
And this is a neat shirt too. So this was a really original idea.
Yeah, to me, I don't think it's supposed to be, but it looks like a telephone cord, like I had in the kitchen of my house when I grew up, and my father would yell at me saying, "Stop stretching the cord." That's what the image reminds me of.
Yeah, the little line from the Enterprise to the planet Earth, what it could be. Yeah, it's supposed to be a transporter beam, but they kind of like you wouldn't really know what it looks like.
This was a very unique one that we had to snatch when we saw it. Leonard Nimoy starring in Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah, very different shirt. I mean, of course, it's not really a Star Trek shirt, but the thing is, you know, it like when Leonard Nimoy did Invasion of the Body Snatchers, he wasn't the star of the movie, but they still had to make this shirt, probably just to sell it to the Star Trek audience.
Absolutely. So this is one of the ones of the time period, 70s and 80s. When you touch the shirt, what does it feel like?
But like this part is like plastic.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is an example of a motion picture shirt that I really wanted as a kid. What do you think about the design? I think this has it all.
Yeah, this design is good because it has Kirk and Spock in the Enterprise. So it's exactly what the fans want. That's their favorite images.
Absolutely.
And this one is Starfleet Command Quadrant 1. This is actually our club that we're a part of. Starfleet Command is an international Star Trek fan club that's been around for over 50 years now. And our ship, the USS Athena, is part of this club.
Classic logo. This is another Starfleet Command shirt. This is my favorite out of the club shirts because I don't know if you can really see it on camera, but it glistens and glitters. It's vibrant. It reminds me of a transporter effect.
Yeah, it's very shiny, and so the red trim around the letters makes it stand out more. And the thing is, don't try to fly in this shirt because I wore this shirt to the airport one time and it set off the metal detectors.
So we got matching shirts that we wore for our Starfleet Academy watching party as a group. Our friends in the USS Athena got together and watched the premiere episode together, so we had matching Starfleet Academy shirts. What do you think about this particular t-shirt?
Well, now this shirt, of course, was made way before the TV series.
I
So,
think the logo and design was 90s during the Next Generation era.
yeah, it actually was made during the Next Generation era. That's where it comes from. So they made these shirts, and it's another neat looking shirt.
This is one of my favorite shirts. My friend Jamie, a guy that I've worked with for years, got this for me. Knowing I'm a big Star Trek fan, he was the best man at my wedding. So, one of my favorite episodes as a kid, when I saw this sitting on the living room floor, I was amazed by the Gorn. So, for my whole life, anything Gorn I liked.
Another one of those shirts they made like to emphasize a certain episode, and of course this is one of the more popular episodes. And they gave the shirt that more classic look.
Yeah, and it's supposed to look like a billing for a boxing match. Like Thriller in Manila. This one's Duel in the Desert. This is one that I have mixed feelings about t-shirts that you buy that are distressed. So it's made to look like you've had it for decades, but this is how you buy the shirt. All worn out. What do you think about it?
I mean, it's a neat idea to make the shirt with the pictures, but yeah, having it look worn out isn't really
The
good.
television is destroyed over here.
Right.
The other ones are viewable.
Some of them, yeah, it's hard to tell what they are. Yeah, the Telosian's really hard. The others you can recognize, but yeah, I wish it was clearer.
So I kind of consider this my Brady Bunch shirt. That's Alice.
Yeah.
This is an official Roddenberry t-shirt. You could essentially make this yourself, just get a patch and sew it on a blue shirt. But instead of being a patch, this actually is it's into the shirt, so it's an applique. Pretty basic.
But it's
In a similar vein, this is a Next Generation version. This is not a patch, but it is part of the t-shirt. I call these casual cosplay when I wear these.
it makes sense, yeah.
And we have quite a few that we made ourselves with the whole spectrum of colors from TNG, Voyager, the original series. But we're only going to be talking about licensed shirts with this one, or high quality fan made ones for conventions. I see this Star Trek shirt people wearing probably more than any other one. So it must have had some sort of mass distribution department store or something. Do you
Oh,
remember anything particular about this?
no, I mean, it's just a nice looking shirt.
And I believe this is the only one that I have with the UFP logo on it. I wish they made more of them like this.
Yeah, that one's nice too, and it is different.
Yeah, it's a classic, and it applies to every era. Now, this shirt right here, I get so many compliments of it, and it's one of those things that you look back and say, Why in the early 80s did they not make a simple Star Trek game like this, like Galaga or Space Invaders, of the Enterprise just shooting Klingon birds of prey? This is one that I get different comments on it. I've had one person go to me and goes, "Oh, I love Bruce Lee too." Uh, unless you know the episode, this reveals that Sulu is a swashbuckler, you wouldn't understand it.
Mad sword skills. I mean, yeah, it doesn't say Sulu or Star Trek on it.
So this shirt is Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock. Clean design. Pose of the Enterprise that we're all familiar with. Another one of those 70s glitter shirts. I absolutely love these. I have fond memories of this era of having t-shirts.
Now, looking at it from where I'm sitting, it's hard to tell that it says Star Trek on it. I can see that it says Mr. Spock, but this part is very dark right here.
Yeah, you're right. They put dark on dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the glitter on it's beautiful. No peeling on this. Great example. Now we're going to show two shirts in a row that have a commonality. Can you tell us a little bit about this shirt, Cutie?
So the Dragon Con Trek Track, back in the years when Eric Watts ran it, he always had these T-shirts made with the faces of the Star Trek guest stars, and so it's neat looking.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that made that era of the Trek Track unique, is that when you went into the Trek Track, you had the opportunity to purchase this shirt as well as a coffee mug, if I'm not mistaken, as well.
Yeah, the coffee mug, and he said that once you buy the mug, you could bring that mug back every year and get free refills. And so, but what happened eventually, though, Dragon Con said you could no longer sell things in any of the track rooms.
Which brings us to a very similar design for Treklanta. Talk about this t-shirt.
Well, Treklanta was also run by Eric Watts after he left the Dragon Con programming. And the similar design, he liked putting the faces of the guests that were at the con that year. And of course, he was a graphic artist. He did the artwork himself.
This is one of those shirts that sometimes it's hard to read. You can see it says Star Trek and it has a variety of aliens in each of the letters. I love this design.
You do have to look closely to tell what it is. I think the Andorian is the clearest face on it that you can recognize.
This is an example of a shirt that came out in the early 80s. Once again, it's that plastic transfer, so it does have some high reflective quality to it. Spock lives. This was anytime someone you're a fan of something during that era. I remember bumper stickers that said Frodo lives. So fans were saying Spock did not die at the end of the Wrath of Khan.
I mean, this is a neat looking shirt too. And again, where I lived, I mean, I never saw any Star Trek shirts in stores, so I never saw this one. But
you would have loved this, right?
Yeah, I would have.
The Wrath of Khan logo. Simple t-shirt design, but there's a lot of action in this logo with the starbursts exploding out.
It's good artwork with the color and everything, and then of course we like the Wrath of Khan logo, the words and the font they used.
This was another hard to find one. I mean, from what we gather, you could only get this if you saw Leonard Nimoy live playing Vincent van Gogh on stage.
Really? Yeah, and how many people saw him? I mean, of course, a lot of people did get to see him, but some of us didn't. And it's a neat shirt. That's supposed to be Van Gogh, because Leonard played his brother, so that's his brother and,
That's right.
and Van Gogh.
Yep.
I mean, it's a neat looking shirt, and I'm sure a lot of people who saw the shirt didn't really understand it. Like if they see someone wearing it.
Or this one, In Search of Spock.
Ah, look at that. Yeah, they had wanted to call it In Search of Spock, but I understood they couldn't get permission to do that.
And why is that?
The people who did the show In Search of, which you know, Leonard Nimoy hosted it, but I don't think he wasn't in charge of approvals. But the people who made the show wouldn't approve that title for Star Trek.
I get it. It makes sense. Another anniversary shirt, Star Trek 4 Platinum Anniversary. It's 1966, 1986, and the adventure continues. And if you feel the text to the word Star Trek 4, it does have a little bit of raise to it. It is, you might not be able to see it on film, but it has a metallic feel to it.
It does, and it's really a nice looking shirt. And I noticed how a lot of these had the line at the bottom with the little Enterprise at the end. I think
Yes.
that's a cool gesture too.
We have another Ringer shirt. There's such a soft space in my heart for these Ringer shirts because I used to wear them as a kid. This is another fandom shirt, United Trekkers of Arkansas. Growing up in Connecticut, I don't remember any of the local fan clubs making shirts that represented the state, but I would have loved one.
Another official Star Trek fan club shirt. So this one's celebrating Star Trek 20 years.
And this has that gray tone that's very popular with workout gear in that time period. And we're beginning to see a theme here. For the 10th anniversary and the 15th anniversary, there weren't a lot of celebratory shirts or merchandise. There were some, but not much. Once we got to 20 years, by 1986, Star Trek was a total phenomena to the point where they were merchandising a lot more than they had previously. What do you think about this design?
This one's nice too. I like it with the Enterprise. And saying "and the adventure continues," that was a common logo they had for Star Trek.
Yes. Oftentimes, when they have these 20th anniversary shirts, they show the original series Enterprise, but this one shows what was at the end of Star Trek 4. It has the NCC 1701A. Now, this is another Star Trek 20-year anniversary shirt. The colors are much brighter on this one. It's a different printing process. If you were to feel it, you'd notice it. So I want to compare it to another one. So they must have had, like, this is the one that we showed previously. So they must have had, it's not worn out because of the wash. You could tell it's different, and it's a different manufacturer as well. This almost is like a knockoff, whereas this one is a Screen Stars one. So I like the colors much more on this one.
Yeah, definitely with the one that stands out more.
These are few and far between. This is a Star Trek Next Generation sweatshirt. You don't see a lot of sweatshirts out there, but growing up in New England, I would have been all over this if I saw this in my local Bradleys or Cowlors, which I did not see growing up. This is something we acquired as an adult collector. This is a very low-budget Star Trek The Next Generation shirt. I don't dislike it. I just think it's...
Well, I think it's strange to show the Enterprise from that angle.
Yes.
Like you're looking at its rear end.
I can't even tell hardly what it is. If it didn't say Star Trek, I'd have to take a second to figure it out. Yet, odd angle. You could tell these early shirts from The Next Generation, they were still trying to figure out how do you present the Enterprise in such a unique shape from what we were used to. This is a line drawing, which I think that they got this one way off. The proportions are wrong. The font is not good. What's your comments on it?
It's okay because it's still recognizable.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, when you look at it closely, you're like, well, I mean, yeah, I would kind of like something better.
I don't ever remember seeing Next Generation t-shirts in my area. I don't remember anything like this at all. So once we get to this point, my brother and I were going to conventions, and I would suspect most of these were being sold at conventions. Speaking of conventions, this is one from Space Trek 5, 1988, St. Louis. Such stuff as dreams are made of. And we're going to assume that is the Enterprise space shuttle in the middle. If you meet people who were into Star Trek fandom that live in the Midwest during this time period, they have very fond memories of Space Trek. I love the idea that this shirt has multiple versions of the Enterprise, but I think it's a giant cluster.
Yeah, they had the right idea. But yeah, the way they showed the ships, it doesn't quite work for beauty.
I don't understand why they keep screwing up the angle of where they put the Enterprise D. Again, early on, I don't think they knew how to present it in that classic style that we're used to of having the Enterprise come straight at you. Whereas this one, this is what we're looking for as regards to the Enterprise D. The font, though, not the font that we're accustomed to.
Kind of looks like the TAS font.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of a neat picture, though.
Yeah, I like it. This is the t-shirt version of the sweatshirt that we showed previously. Now, this is the one that I think is, when you think of TNG Enterprise logo, this is it. This epitomizes the 80s Next Generation.
Yeah, with the Enterprise with the really big saucer section.
Yes, the letters coming right at you. I love this. And check out the back of the shirt. Not too many shirts had a reverse side to it, so this was a specialty.
Yeah, they'll let you know which ship it was in case you didn't know.
And during the Next Generation era, there were still some people who would not give the Next Generation a chance. And remember, this was around the time where New Coke was coming out. The old formula was being retired. They were trying to get younger people into Coca-Cola. So this is a reference to, and then they had to go back to the original recipe and they called it Coke Classic, right?
Yes, yeah.
So tell us about this shirt. You get a lot of compliments whenever you wear this.
So combining Star Trek with Coca-Cola, because everybody likes both. and yeah, bringing back, Trek Classic, just like when they brought back the Coke and called it Coke Classic. But of course, I mean, it's not that we don't like the Next Generation, but I just think this is a cute joke anyway.
Yes. This is Starfleet Academy. I like this shirt in so many ways because it's that grayish tone that you'd see in a gym in the time period of the 80s and 90s. This was popular. Sweatpants color. Like there's a name for this type of gray. And if you look at the arm, it actually says cadet on it.
Yeah, that's really neat. So this was the logo they had on TNG. The logo that was for Starfleet Academy, so way before the streaming series.
And if you look at the back, again, two-sided shirt. I always like shirts that have two sides to it, very much like concert shirts. Star Trek Next Generation. I love this shirt because you don't see too many Star Trek shirts with the color green, and green is my favorite color. But obviously, this is a reference to
the Borg.
Yeah, I love the simplistic design, the Enterprise overlaying the schematics of the Borg. And speaking of the Borg, you ordered this a few years ago. So this is essentially a custom shirt somebody made. Resistance and Futile, right?
Yeah, this was actually from a virtual 5K that I did where I got the Borg medal.
Yep.
And they also offered these sweatshirts, and so I ordered it. And you could get any color, and I just wanted the hot pink.
So speaking of these virtual marathons, tell us about what they're like and these medallions that you get as a reward.
So you can do a virtual run. So virtual means that you just do it on your own time. It's not where people all meet to run a 5K. So you sign up for it online, and you pay a fee for it, and the money all goes to charity. And so once you go online and say that you've completed it, you get this medal. And so I only do these for Star Trek. Of course, they have virtual runs for everything. So these are the ones that I've done for Star Trek.
I love them, and they are heavy. If you, I mean, you feel like Mr. T when you put these around your neck. They have some weight to them. And we're talking about another sweatshirt. This one is a Klingon shirt. I love it because it has Klingon text on the arms.
And on the back, we have what you can tell is a Klingon skull with the crossed batlets. And of course, it says "We are Klingons." It's pretty neat looking.
Yeah, it's very much similar to a skull and crossbones.
Yes.
Now, my brother got this sweatshirt for you, and this is a super, super thick, heavy-duty sweatshirt.
Yeah,
right?
yes.
This has got to be one of the thickest sweatshirts I ever had.
And this one I got at a con, a member of the Q Continuum, and I got John Delancey to autograph it. So.
Any fond memories of this convention? Do you remember where it was?
It was in Atlanta. It was one of the smaller ones. I think it was a Trek Fest. It was one that they didn't have it much. I think they only had, there was one other Trek Fest in Atlanta during the 90s. But yeah, it was a fun con, and I think this one was my first time seeing John Delancey, and he was really neat.
Star Trek V, The Final Frontier. I love this shirt.
Yeah, as much as we, didn't really want anything for Star Trek V, but at least it's a nice t-shirt.
And once again, they put extra effort putting a star field and the logo on the back of the shirt. Okay, you're probably wondering, why is this Montreal, Canada sweatshirt in our collection? Well, here's what happened. We got married in 2017, and we had 2 honeymoons. We had part of our honeymoon on the cruise, the Star Trek cruise, and the other half of our honeymoon was in Montreal and in Boston. We flew up there because Boston is the birthplace of
Leonard Nimoy,
and Montreal is the birthplace of
William Shatner.
So we're going to all these gift shops, and the little Trekkie nutcase can't understand why there's no William Shatner memorabilia anywhere. Well, because the average person does not travel to Montreal to look for William Shatner stuff. So what did my beautiful wife ask the shopkeeper to do? Look at the back of the sweatshirt.
Birthplace of William Shatner. Yeah, we had this put on the back of the t-shirt or sweatshirt.
And that's it. And I just, it reinforced that I married the world's biggest Star Trek fan. Now, if you go on the Star Trek cruise, every person on the cruise gets a complimentary t-shirt. So this was the shirt that we got. This is the front. Over the breast is a Star Trek The Cruise crew member. And on the back, it shows most of the guests, the primary guests that were on the cruise. I find this interesting that they don't show the actors' names, but instead they have the characters that they portray. And what they have everyone do, they'll have a red shirt day where everyone wears their red shirt. Well, depending on which cruise, they rotate the colors through the cruises. So for our cruise in 2018, it was red shirts. You have everybody wearing the same shirt, and it was so much fun. Another Paramount promotional shirt. Why do these type of shirts drive you crazy with the Paramount logo?
Well, I don't think anybody is really a fan of Paramount itself, just Star Trek.
When I see the Paramount logo, I think of Indiana Jones. Because the Indiana Jones movies start with the Paramount logo, and then it disappears, and it'll have a mountain. Right? When you watch Raiders of the Lost Ark, that's how that begins. I mean, I associate Paramount more with Raiders than I do with Star Trek.
Right, so there was just an era where Paramount was trying to sell its own logo and promote itself.
Yeah, because Paramount makes a lot of things. They make a lot of cool things, or at least they used to make a lot of cool things. All right, so if we see Ringer shirts, we have to get them for our collection because Ringer shirts have just such fond memories for us growing up. They don't have them anymore. They're not prevalent. So you got a chance to go to the Star Trek anniversary in Alabama, in Huntsville, right? What was 30th anniversary?
Yeah, the 30th anniversary con in Huntsville, Alabama. And like that was an awesome con. That at the time, I mean, that was the biggest con I had been to, and it was my first like official. This was an official Paramount convention.
Yes. I wanted to go there so badly because I remember I was collecting the Playmate action figures at that time as an adult collector, and they were releasing two exclusive Scotty. There were a Scotty figure and a Sulu figure, and wow, why didn't you invite me? This is a T-shirt from Farragut Films. Tell us about your time going to visit the studio.
Yeah, so Farragut Films made Star Trek fan films, and they had a studio in Kingsland, Georgia. That's where Star Trek Continues was made, and also the Farragut films were made there. And they would have open house once a year, and so I went. So I got this one of the years that I went, and it was just really fun. You get to go and tour their studio where the films are made, and they had a few panels with writers and things, and so it was cool.
Yeah, when we went together, I want to say maybe 2019 it was, and they had like a Star Trek convention essentially associated with it, where you got to meet the actors that were in those productions. You got to tour the studio. Now that has moved up into Ohio, so it's no more. But I like this because if you feel it, it has a you can tell it's stitched. It's not ironed on or pressed on.
Yeah, it's a nice shirt.
A Christmas shirt, and this is a long sleeve shirt that's designed to look like it's stitched like it's a sweater.
Yeah, this is our ugly sweater shirt. So we got the Picard version of the Christmas ugly sweater, Make It Snow.
So I was living in Connecticut, and I never had access to Dixie Trek, but you grew up in Georgia. So tell us what Dixie Trek was like.
It was a fan-run convention that was mostly Star Trek, and it was a lot of fun, yeah. Now this T-shirt is from 1987. I didn't go in that year. My first year at Dixie Trek was 1990. But, yeah, I do have fond memories of it. It was really... Like, they had good guests there. I remember they had Denise Crosby one year. They've had Nichelle Nichols. They had Walter Koenig. A lot of great guests, and it was just fun because you got to really talk to the actors, and you got to go around, and it was nice and relaxed. You get to see everything and talk to the other fans.
It was at the Hyatt Regency Hotel, which is one of the host hotels of
Dragon Con.
That's it. So my parents took my brother and I to Paramount, was it Universal Studios? And Universal Studios had an agreement with Paramount that they would have a Star Trek attraction in their park. And the attraction was they were filming a Star Trek, essentially a small movie. And at the time, you were sitting in the audience, and they would pull random people in the audience to be in this Star Trek production. So they pulled people out of the audience, and what happened was my brother, myself, and my cousin, we were in line, and we were teenage kids, so we're wrestling with each other, we're hitting each other, we're goofing off. This guy comes up to us and says, "Hey, you kids!" We're like, "Uh-oh. Do you want to be Klingons in a Star Trek film?" And we go, "Yay!" So they pulled us back. We didn't know at that time they pulled my mother from the audience. And we found out later on what their formula for getting people on stage is that you have to be outgoing. So my mother, if you've ever met her, she's constantly laughing at something, constantly talking. Obviously, they saw the three of us goofing around. We would fit very well. And what you did was they spliced it together, and they made a movie, and you could buy the movie later on. And this is it, the Star Trek Adventures at Universal Studios. So this is an official Paramount production, and my family is in it. And this is a t-shirt from that time period. So if you've been living under a rock, you don't know what Axanar is, but if you're a Star Trek fan, you know that Axanar is a independent Star Trek production. When I first saw this, I said, this is absolutely incredible. What was your first response when you saw Axanar?
Prelude to Axanar.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a really great film. It was very well made, like you couldn't tell it was a fan film.
Yeah. And this is a t-shirt. We were financial supporters of the project. This is a t-shirt from that Kickstarter package. And we got a bundle of other stuff with it as well. Another Star Trek convention in Atlanta. Do you want to tell us about your Volcon experience?
Yeah, Volcon was another awesome convention they used to have. So it was based in Florida, but they had a few cons in Atlanta, and so this was the one where they brought Leonard Nimoy, and yeah, it was my first time seeing him, and it was just a lot of fun. I think this one was at the Georgia Convention Center.
I like these Volcon shirts because they're artist interpretations of the character with the actor. So it's a very unique, distinctive look for a shirt.
And this was another Volcon Atlanta that had Armin Shimmerman, and another great T-shirt. I like that. So at this con, I got this T-shirt because I won the trivia contest, and the T-shirt, you can tell it. You see the tag there; it's a large. I didn't think about asking them if they had it in a smaller size, but I got this one. So anyway, it's a nice shirt. And one time when I was wearing this to a restaurant, and the waiter saw me, and he saw that it says Volcon up here, and he saw the picture, and he goes, "That's not a Vulcan."
Yet another Star Trek V t-shirt. They had high hopes for this movie, obviously, because there's very little for Star Trek II, which at the time, all I wanted was Star Trek II stuff when that movie came out. Star Trek V, and I was pretty lukewarm on it. One thing about this shirt, tell us about the text and the printing of it.
It's the raised kind of imprint.
And you can't see it on film, but it's very metallic, mirror-like. This is the type that you have to hand wash, or else the metallic will probably flake off.
Yeah, I think it looks much better in person than you can actually see it in the video. It is nice looking.
So Starbase Indy is one of our favorite conventions. It is a Star Trek and science convention that's held annually in Indianapolis, Indiana. And they have every year different t-shirts. I like this one because immediately you see the Vulcan salute, but if you look closely, it's the city of Indianapolis with a starbase hovering over it. Fantastic graphic design.
Yeah, this one's a beautiful t-shirt.
Star Trek 25th Anniversary. I remember this was a big deal. Going to the comic book store at this time, the comics, they had the Next Generation comics, they had original series comics, the trading cards were coming out, the trading cards had this logo on it. It was such a fun time to be a Star Trek fan. 1991. What do you think about this logo?
Yeah, that's a nice logo they made for it. So yeah, using the that was the TNG font.
TNG font with the TOS Enterprise. So it incorporated both with the classic Delta. Vulcan Science Academy. I don't quite understand anything about this shirt. You could tell it's a 70s or 80s shirt. It has no Star Trek font to it. It has that kind of bubble font. But it does have the Enterprise.
It has Vulcan Science Academy.
That's what I'm not understanding. I mean, like, you could tell, like, just someone that didn't really know Star Trek made it just to sell it, but it really, thematically, I'm looking at this thing, well, what? It's just kind of a generic Star Trek shirt, right? I guess?
Okay. Yeah, like they should have put the IDIC on it or something.
Yes. This is a modern Star Trek shirt. I'm going to guess maybe in the last 20 years or so, this has been a thing, making distressed shirts. Making the fonts look like it went through 150 washes. Like, it's a thing, right? to make it look like you've had this shirt forever.
Okay, yeah.
This is a curiosity. So it's a Star Trek 6 shirt. Beautiful colors that are all over the shirt. And if you feel it, it has nothing raised on it. So you could tell it's more of a tie-dye method. They must have bleached tie-dyed it and then dyed it other colors. And then on the arm, it has the date. And the logo is on the right-hand side instead of the left-hand side. Everything about this shirt is very unique. I think that's what I like about it the most. And this is the back of the shirt. No logo, just warps of color.
So the picture is supposed to be Praxis exploding.
Yes.
Which is really neat. And it's kind of like, I don't know, kind of like an inside thing. You won't know that unless you've seen the movie.
And also, I think you have to if somebody's just walking by, you're not going to notice that. It's not going to register. At least it didn't with me.
Exactly.
I have to stare at it and look at it and think about it. So this is an example of a shirt that's a work of art. My brother gifted me this shirt years ago. He found it at a convention. Both of us are big Mego fans, collecting that line of dolls when we were kids. I absolutely love this shirt. These were my heroes growing up.
And this shirt has the actual gold braid.
Yeah, it has some extra details on it. I've had this shirt for so long. It was very hard to find a lot of Deep Space Nine stuff back when the show came out. I think it was... They underserved the collector community because it overlapped with TNG, so there were tons of TNG stuff. But I did find this shirt at the time, and I still wear it and still love it. Another United Trekkers of Arkansas t-shirt. If you are a fan club that was big enough and popular enough to start having swag, t-shirts, all kinds of things, it tells you about what the club, the passion that this club has. I don't know the whole backstory of this. We've met people from other clubs. If anybody watching this has someone that was a member of this club, reach out to us because we'd like to hear the story of the development. And this is the shirt to our local Star Trek fan club as part of Starfleet Command, the USS Athena. We were gifted this by our members, Pam and Loretta, friends of ours that made the shirt.
Yes, so we were formed in 2019, so we just had our 5th anniversary. And our member, Pam Maynes, is the one who designed this 5th anniversary logo for us. And then our other member, Loretta Tobias, is the one that had the shirt made. And she had several shirts made for our members. And so we're really proud of this. And it's a great design and color and everything.
One of my favorite episodes of all time, when I saw this as a kid, I was totally... My brother makes fun of me. He said I have pointy ear syndrome because I love the elves in Lord of the Rings. I love elves in Dungeons & Dragons. I love the elves in ElfQuest. I used to read that comic book series. And of course, I love Vulcans and Romulans. So when I was a kid and Balance of Terror came on, I was hooked because of those pointy ears.
Yeah, it was also my favorite episode. So I just loved the introduction of the Romulans.
This is one of my favorite Starbase Indie shirts as well, because when I see this rainbow in a vertical, it reminds me of Star Trek The Motion Picture. I was an avid comic book reader. I'd see that advertisement on the back of so many comic books in 1979. I think this logo here for the Starbase is excellent. Again, if you look closely at the Starbase, it has City of Indianapolis on top. Finding hope in the impossible. Great theme. All around fantastic shirt for a fantastic invention.
Yeah, Starbase Indie is fan run, and they always made great t-shirts too.
This is a band that we used to watch perform at Starbase Indie, 5 Year Mission. What a fantastic logo. It looks like the Enterprise from a distance, but if you look closely, it's 5YM, 5 Year Mission. So what they did was they had a series of CDs. Of course, we own them all. And this was for the, I think you had to pre-buy year 4. I believe so. That you got a package, and with the package was a T-shirt. What'd you think about 5-Year Mission?
Yeah, I like them. They made a song for each episode of Star Trek, and they did it by season. Well, almost, because they went into year 4 and year 5. But
Yeah,
it was pretty neat. Yeah,
and
great
we,
songs.
yeah, it was, and all the songs told the story of the episode. We listened to it on the way up to the starbase. So we had these shirts made because if you watch Star Trek Discovery, the track shirts were an abbreviation of Discovery that said disco. But at the time, I thought about it. Once the Enterprise came into the show, I said, wow, we should make one with the Enterprise too. What would the abbreviation for the Enterprise be? And I thought it would be Enter. So this was a fun one to wear together at conventions with jogging pants. And you remember that time they had the photo shoot at DragonCon for Discovery, and they had a whole bunch of people show up and had us run around with it?
Yeah, that was fun too.
So another Volcon shirt, two-sided. This one on the breast says, celebrating 40 years of Trek, 1966 to 2006.
And this one I got at Volcon Orlando. And the thing about this one is, I wasn't going to get the T-shirt, but what happened was I prepaid for something with Rene Aubergenois. So his name is on the back, but he actually had to cancel because he had to go back and, film another scene for Boston Legal back then. So they had canceled his like a little play that he was going to do at the con, and so they said I could either get a refund or I could get the T-shirt. And in this case, I just thought, well, this one's a really cool looking T-shirt, so I'll just get the shirt.
And this is a shirt celebrating various eras of Star Trek. Finally, we have representation for Star Trek Enterprise, and we are both big Enterprise fans. In fact, I wasn't planning on this, but we have it's ridiculous how many Star Trek mugs we have. We should make a video of our Star Trek mugs because we're only 2 people in this house, and you'd think we have every single the Brady Bunch, the Partridge Family, All in the Family. I mean, you'd think we have 40 kids, but I just happened to be drinking out of my Star Trek Enterprise mug this morning. I like this shirt because of the fact that it has 3 iconic ships from Legacy Trek.
This one's a nicely made shirt, and it's basically like covering the different eras of Trek.
And this is one of the ones because I've gained weight over the years, and my loving wife says that my girth causes her mirth because she gets to inherit all my old T-shirts. Another Starbase Indie shirt. I love the fact that it has a Star Trek reference there. You see the Starbase, but look at all these technology, engineering, science, and math. The future stems from hope. And if you look at those circuits, it looks like a tree. Very ingenious design with this shirt. And every time we wear it, just reminds us how much we absolutely love Starbase Indy and why we continue to call it the greatest Star Trek convention that so many fans don't even know about, and it's a shame. This is a shirt that I consider a Star Trek adjacent. It has the patch of the Columbia and the Space Shuttle Columbia. And if you watch Star Trek Enterprise, what was the other ship that was an NX class, NX2? Was Columbia. Yeah. So Johnson Space Center, Houston, Texas. We actually got to go to the Space Center. They had a special day where they had Star Trek fans gathered together, and you get private tours of the Space Center with people who actually knew Star Trek, and they would show you the real world science and the real world ships and how they apply to something in Star Trek, which was a once in a lifetime experience. I was so happy to go there. Whenever I wear this, I get a lot of questions. Star Trek Audacious. People say, what is that? Is that a show? Is it a book? No, it's a comic book. And even comic collectors will say, I've never heard of this before. Well, here's the story. This was a fan-made comic book series, whereas this creative team wrote They did the artwork for it, they produced it themselves, and it was online only. So I ended up getting the whole series, and I got the package with the t-shirt. And I think it's extra sweet because it's a two-sided shirt, and it shows the starship on the back. Great design.
So the 55-year anniversary of Star Trek. This was a Creation Con shirt.
So what happened was Creation lost the license to Star Trek. So they decided to make their own generic space series. I guess it was... So you look at it, you could kind of tell it's Trek-ish. It looks more Orville-ish. Because of... Right?
Yeah. I mean, it's just still a great design.
It's a great design. It's so unique. When I first saw the shirt, I said, this is so different, so bizarre, we have to get it. So, I like how it kind of has that nouveau artistic look to it. Again, it's just a curiosity. And finally, we've reached the end of our t-shirt collection. Whenever we go to Starbase Indy, we tend to get matching t-shirts. This past Starbase Indy, they had a two-sided shirt. So on the top here, that's mine. You see the Starbase Indy logo. And then on the front of the shirt, you have the Delta with another Starbase Indy logo. Fantastic design. I absolutely love these shirts. They knocked it out of the park. Again, what'd you think about these shirts and about Starbase Indy in general?
The shirts are good because you can see, like it represents Star Trek, but also something different, something fan-made.
Yeah, I love it. And you could get in red as well, so it's thematic. That's our t-shirt collection, our ever-growing t-shirt collection. I really don't think it's ever going to stop. We try to restrain ourselves, but we love Star Trek.